Long live the spirit of Chrisani, long live. Amandla. Viva ANC, viva. Comrades, we are going to start now with our program. Besicela nje iqabane lizasivulela lesihlabelela uNkosi Sikelela. Mithandazo yethu Nkosi Sikelela thina lusapho Buruka sitshaba sa Yesu oferi setintwa le matswe nyeo Buru Siburuke sitshaba sa Yesu sithabasa South Africa Diplofano seye me Stefano se Amandla. 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 Kawethu. Comrades besicela kuvalwe pha emnyango kubekho iqabane elizabapha emnyango kungangeni bantu ngoku. Niyayazi ukuthi sinenani eliqingqelekileyo ekufaneleke ukuthi libe ngaphakathi inani elingango 50. Comrades as well siyacela ukuthi nizinxibe imask zenu se kukho umabonakude apha asifuni xa sifotwe kuzothiwa no sibe neprogram apho singakhange siyilandele inkqubo migomo yeCovid. Comrades mandithathe elithuba ke ndinibulise nonke onke amaqabane eSacp kwakunye namavolontiya iRed Brigades mandamkele isikhokhelo sikaSanco, isikhokhelo se-ANC, isikhokhelo seprovince se-Communist Party, South African Communist Party, ndibulise nakumaqabane akwi-legislature ne-members of parliament, ndibulise naku-national chairperson. Kuthiwe ke masithi ngu-national chairperson wethu, u-national chairperson we-NDR, ayingo-national chairperson we-ANC, ngu-national chairperson wethu. Comrades, thina njengokuthi siyazi ukuthi siya kwi-elections, sinale ngqungquthela okanye le ndibaniselwano yokukhumbula ubomi bukaComrade uRay Alexander noJack Simons. Sifikela ke ngexesha apho esimanxada-nxada sisebenza sifuna uqinisekisa ukuthi i-ANC iphinda iwine ibhito, i-ANC iyabawina oomasipala kwi-district ngokubanzi ukuze abantu bethu okanye abantu abangathathi ntweni bangalahlekelwa lithemba. Nanjengoku siyazi ke maqabane ukuthi awukho omnye umbutho okwaziyo ukwenza ii-commitments aze aziphumeze ngaphandleni kwe-ANC. Silapha ke maqabane ngeemembers ze-ANC kwakunye ne-Communist Party. Sifuna ke ukwamkela uNational Chairperson. Simchazela nokuthi kwii-areas esihlala kuzo sinemiceli-mingeni. Ndiyayazi ke kwindibano ibikhona kusasa nje iye yaphakanyiswa umcimbi wombane. Kodwa ke National Chairperson sinengxaki nomcimbi wombane kwenye ii-areas ezizi-informal settlements. Le area ke kwiminyaka emine edlulileyo mhlawumbi ubukhe ubone nakumabonakude kuthiwe kuvalwe u-N2 kuyaliwa kulwelwa i-housing development. Siyacinga lo mcimbi wombane yenye ye-time bombs, yenye yezinto ezawubangela ziphazamise inkqubo yecampaign ye-ANC uba asiyinikeli ngqalelo. Siyacela ke komnye umlenze karhulumente National Chairperson ukuthi nisele iso lento siye ebantwini siphethe nto sisithi kubo nantsi into esinayo into kurhulumente we-ANC. Enye into National Chairperson endifuna uyiphakamisa kukuthi maqabane ithethile ke i-ANC ngabantu okanye ngorhwaphilizo okanye abantu ababandakanyeka kurhwaphilizo. Siyayazi ke zikhona ke izityholo ezithile ezibandakanya amaqabane athile. Sithe ke thina kwi-district yethu apha eLizonkunki uba kukho iqabane elibandakanyekayo kulo naluphi na urhwaphilizo malihambe lizise kwi-Integrity Commission liyozichaza ukuthi lona alinayo okanye akho nto liyenzileyo egwenxa. National Chairperson ke siyakwamkela ngalamazwi, sisamkela ne-branch leaders, sisamkela amavolontiya we-ANC. Amandla awethu. Ndizawucela sifake igwijo comrades, sizophakamisa u-district secretary. From here, yeah.
So there won't be a need to even hold it. Just position
You
it.
just stand here. Amandla. 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 Awethu. Awethu. Amandla. Awethu. Viva SACP, viva. Viva SACP, viva. Viva Sanco, viva. Viva Sanco, viva. Viva Kosatu, viva. Viva Sacp, viva. Viva ANC, viva. Phansi ngamasela phansi. Phansi ngamasela phansi. Phambili ngabantu abanomthetho phambili. Phambili ngabantu abanomthetho phambili. Amandla. Amandla. Awethu. Enkosi Maqabane. Mandithabathe lithuba. Ndilisebenzise ekuzekeni mzekweni ekwamkeleni nonke Maqabane akho yapha ngaphakathi. Okokuqala okwam, it is to do the honors and welcome a program and present it to you, as it were. Ndikho nje okokuba ndihlaba ifolo ukwenzela babantu bazokwazi into bakutheni sikhona apha namhlanje. Already ke ibiseyichaziwe into ethi apha size esikolweni. Isikolo sokuba sikhumbule amaqabane abenendima enkulu ayidlalileyo kumzabalazo nasekumeni kombutho kanye kwemibutho yabasebenzi. Uqabane uRay Alexander. Na Maqabane ndicinga ba okokwam kokuba mandithi nje together with uComrade Jake Simons kubalulekile into basazi into ba especially kwi-stage esikuso ngoku Maqabane. Inhloso yethu ke kukufaka isikolo kumaqabane ephela ngendima edlalwe ngumbutho wamakomanisi ekuqinisekiseni into ba abasebenzi abaxhatshazwa kwaye intsika zemibutho yabasebenzi zimile kwaye ziqinile. Ixesha esikulo ke Maqabane kubalekile into basazi into ba indima yethu ingakumbi ngoku kweli xesha leCovid kokokuba siqinise ngakumbi ekutheni siorganize abasebenzi sisima ndawonye nabantu abahluphekileyo nabona bantu bangamaxhoba kwimeko esijongene nayo ngoku ye-COVID-19. Uba siyaqaphela Maqabane eyona ngxaki esijongene nayo ngoku yintswelangqesho, and loo ntswelangqesho siyibona kakhulu kubantu bakuthi. Abantu abakade benezinto abachaphazeleki kangako as compared to abantu abangabasebenzi neentsapho zabo, ngokokuba kaloku siyababona oongxowankulu indlela abenza ngayo namhlanje. Indaba yeCovid seyisetyenziswa ngoku, isetyenziselwa ukumaximiza iprofit ngokuba kuphungulwe abasebenzi kodwa bekwabekwa uxinizelelo okokuba mabaproduce even more than they used to produce xa bebelinani elithile. So that is why sizifumana sikule meko esikuyo namhlanje. Ndiyacinga into yoba ke Maqabane nani zinkokheli mandiyithethe into ethi olwam uluvo lokokuba urhulumente ubekwa kakhulu uxinizelelo ngokungathi urhulumente ngoyena mqeshi kwisociety yethu, which is something that is wrong and incorrect. Enye yezinto ke kufanele uba sibe siyaziqwalasela kakhulu ke eze kutheni kuzawufuneka every time kuthethwa nge-unemployment kuzowutyholwa okanye kunyolwe kurhulumente. What is important for the government to do is to create conducive environment for business to thrive, but not to want a government to create job opportunities. Leyo into ayisoze ikwazi ukwenzeka nanini na. Urhulumente can never be an employer of everyone odinga umsebenzi. Mandizeke Maqabane kwinto ethi njenge-Communist Party okanye amabomvano sine-responsibility yokuthi sikhokhele umbutho nonxantathu omanyeneyo nozibonakalisayo into yoba ukunye nabantu. I-ANC ke njengenkokheli ye-alliance kunye ne-alliance partners zayo bathethile bavisisana ekutheni, comrades, there has got to be a reuniting of our alliance partners. Sirenewe ubulungu bethu njengonxantathu +1. Loo nto leyo ke siyanyanzeleka into yoba siyikhokhele. And manditsho ke ba uMqwathi andinayo into endingcangcazelisayo ekutheni we have done what we can as the district. We have done as a district to ensure ukuthi there is a reconfigured alliance, and importantly, we have shown an exemplary alliance ngokuqiniseka into yoba umsebenzi ebekufanele uba siyawenza sibambisene noCOSATU no-ANC kunye noSANCO siyibonakalisile loo nto leyo. Mandigqibele ke ngelithi Maqabane, asizukukwazi ukuyiphepha into ethi urhwaphilizo lona luyibulele i-ANC, and kuyindima yethu ekuqinisekiseni into yoba siyayireviva, sithi get rid of abantu ababangela into yoba i-ANC ibe newele eliyi-corruption. Amandla awethu. Nkosi Maqabane.
Amandla awethu viva Sacp, viva ayikhule Sacp, ayikhule phatha ANC, phatha ANC, phatha. Comrades, sizawuphakamisa ngoku u-acting secretary, regional secretary of the ANC, uComrade Aseza Gungubele. Ndizawucela nje simphakamise kodwa ke ndiyamazi indoda ekwazi ucula. Esicela ningafaka amaqabane apho comrades emnyango, vala umnyango.
Mandla. Mandla. Awethu. Awethu. Viva ANC, ANC, viva. Viva ANC, ANC, viva. Pata ANC, ANC, pata. Pata ANC, ANC, pata. Maibuye. I-Afrika. I-Afrika. Maibuye. Viva SSCP, SSCP, viva. Viva Kosatu, Kosatu, viva. Viva Sango, Sango, viva. Roar, young lions, roar. Roar, lions, roar. Thank you very much, Program Director, Comrade Tembela Mhlana. Comrades, mine is very short. It's just to introduce leadership here in front of us, comrades. However, Program Director, allow me just to touch a few things, comrades. I will have not been done justice if I were not going to be mentioning comrades' leadership from a province, from the party. That, comrades, we are busy doing election work in this region, and I'm a leader of the election in the region. So with those few words, I want to lobby you, comrades, to have a second program, National Chair, that will come back around the region so that we can go down and do canvassing in door-to-door work, comrades. Comrades, we are here today to have a lecture of a party, comrades. Party in the past, comrades, have been providing a political school for the ANC even during the time of the apartheid. Oh, still close. We've been providing leaders, political school for the party, for the ANC, comrades, including the labor movement. I can remember, Comrade Butkaya, I think it was 2015, when we had the induction of the ANC in the region. I've been the ANC in the region for quite some time as well. I'm sure I've not even forgotten today when Comrade Kaya was taking us through what is the colonization for special type. So the party has been provided that leadership role since ever, comrades. The second thing, comrades, National Chair, in front of us, comrades, we have candidates of the ANC that are present, in this, present here, comrades. I've been lobbied, Comrade Chair, National Chair, by 6 candidates, just opposite this house, opposite the hall. There's an old person that they want to see you, if possible. I'm just being out of order. After the program, they would love to meet with you, just opposite the hall, National Chair. There's other thing, leadership. Mine was just to introduce the leadership. I will start from this side, comrades. The district secretary that we are working very close, Comrade Langa. Is the provincial secretary of the party, Comrade Benson. Over Comrade Benson, other side, we have IPC member, Butkaya, the former leader of the party as well, the former mayor of Pito, but also in the legislature of the ANC. At the back, comrades, we have Comrade Tefute, member of the ANC, Comrade Nokolo Ndumiso, but we also have a women's league, a party leader, Comrade Pinkonkai. I am sure, comrades, you know Comrade Tembela Mhlana. He's also from Pito. Comrades, we are here to introduce the national chair of the ANC of the party, the former secretary of the ANC that have led in a difficult time of the ANC, where you have mentioned the 10 years, how was it difficult? But one thing, comrades, we must be grateful. Under his leadership, he kept the ANC intact, comrades. As you have never had these things that we're having currently, comrades. We must appreciate Cde Gwede Mantashe and Comrade SG. We must, when we sing you, we are singing us as a region. We must appreciate the fact that when you were doing deployment, you took one of us to your office. We must appreciate that. It have never happened before. We must appreciate that, National Chair. Comrade Kamai. Comrades, I was just doing an introduction of the National Chair that all of you know, Cde Gwede Mantashe. Thank you very much, Program Director, Comrade Temel.
Amandla. Amandla. Awethu. Awethu. Viva ANC, viva. Maybe Nopala, you forgot to tell the national chairperson that after he left office, we had a drought of deployment of NEC members. We never had any visit from NEC members Even in 2019 elections, there was not a single NEC member that visited Pito after you have left office. Amandla, comrades, kanifaki kuicho sizo pakamisa alliance partners, ukomrade Chefuta, Makazukiswe Chefuta from Sanco.
Mandla, 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 we too, viva SACP, viva, viva SACP, viva, viva COSATU, viva, viva COSATU, viva, viva ANC, viva. Viva ANC, viva. Phambili nge-Women's League, phambili. Phambili nge-Women's League, phambili. Viva YCL, viva. Viva YCL, viva. Viva ACC Youth League, viva. Viva ANC Youth League, viva. Mandla. Mandla. Yabulela abantu bakuthi. Ndibulele nakuwe program director district chairperson we party in the Lizongongi district Comrade Thembela Mhlana. Ndibulise ke bonke abantu ngokwezigaba zabo uqala kwi-NEC. Ndivile uba umqwati kuthiwe akafuni kuthiwa i-CC member ufuna kuthiwa national chair. Sibulise national chair, sibulise the current provincial secretary of Communist Party uComrade Benson Nqenzu. Sibulise former provincial secretary of party uComrade Khaya. Sibulise former RC member ANC uComrade Lulama Vimbi. Sibulise the sitting district secretary we party uComrade Langa, and the acting regional secretary of the ANC uComrade Aseza Kungubela ne team yakhe ye RC elapha. Sibulise members ze party in general. Ndivumeleni ke maqabane ndithathe elithuba ndithi on behalf of the South African National Civic Organization, commonly known as SANCO, Southern Cape region, ndithathe elithuba to convey revolutionary greetings to you all present here today, and have a gratitude from the SANCO membership to our alliance partner, the SACP for the systematic expression of solidarity and support to our cause and struggles. We are confident that, that you, esteemed members of the SACP, just as we, members of the civic movement, attend this celebration, having a special motivation to pay homage to the centennial of the SACP, a national strategic alliance partner and one of the main founding political parties of South Africa's liberation and constitutional democracy. The legacy of the SACP will always be a guide for all who fight for a better world of peace, justice, and equality. The unbreakable bonds of friendship between the South African Communist Party and its alliance partners were cultivated and supported by leaders such as like Fidel Castro, Oliver Tambo, and Moses Kotana, men of tested integrity, fighters against injustice and discrimination, and true champions of peace and the unity of the people. Their ideas and principles should be part of our daily work, inspired by the example of these leaders. The relationship between our people was forged in the struggle against racism and colonialism. We as SANCO will never forget the heroism of South African fighters in the struggle for the eradication of apartheid, under the leadership of personalities such as like Moses Kotane, Moses Mapita, Joe Slovo, Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, Chris Hani, Ahmed Kadrata, and many others who dedicated their lives to the struggle for a better world. The progressive and revolutionary movement is facing big challenges at the world level. In Latin America, the imperialist offensive is trying to subvert the processes led by the left and progressive forces. Thus, the constant attacks against several countries, especially against the republics of Venezuela and Cuba, to which we express our greatest solidarity. A similar process is taking place in Africa, particularly in the southern region, where there have been a permanent subversive offensive against the former national liberation movements that have been able to keep the power and work for a better future for their people. In this context, the South African Communist Party and its alliance partners should aim all its actions to promote the greatest unity amongst the African, Latin American, and Caribbean revolutionaries in all scenarios. As the former president of Cuba, Comrade Raul Castro, stated, the construction of unity is the most important task to be undertaken by a true revolution. And in order to achieve such an important political and strategic objective, we have to put aside with modesty everything that divides and separates us. The SACP held its 4th Special National Congress in December 2019. The Special National Congress took place against the background of a deep crisis, particularly affecting the working class and poor of our country. The crisis is typified by a stagnant economy that is continuing to share jobs in the context of persisting high unemployment rate, entrenched poverty, widening inequality, and unresolved legacy of uneven development. The Special National Congress resolution adopted set the guidelines to consolidate through the SACP political program the South African road to socialism, progress towards a sovereign, independent, socialist, democratic, prosperous, and sustainable nation. The South African Communist Party should continue to reaffirm that our foreign policy should be faithful to the principle of self-determination of the people and protecting the sovereignty of the states. We are aware of the challenges that we face, and we are fully convinced that in South Africa, there will be not a solution to problems on the back of people that may harm their unity around the party. I would like to reaffirm to our SAC brothers and sisters that everything we have done and we are doing is to further strengthen and defend socialism. We reaffirm Sanko's faithfulness to its friends, in particular the SACP, and its commitment with the African people. We wish success to the SACP Centenary celebration. As I sit down, comrade, I want to request all the Red Brigades to go out in numbers and convince our people, particularly in the sub-district of Pito and across the Lizongongi district, to on the 1st of November go in numbers and vote for the ANC. In doing that, comrade, long live to the strategic friendship and the tripartite alliance of South Africa. Mandla. Mandla.
Amandla. Awethu. Comrades, kanifake iculo, kahlabele noxolo. Zabalaza, zabalaza, zabalaza. Zabalaza, 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 zabalaza. Olefa wetambo. Kaya. Amandla, Amandla, Awethu, viva SACP, viva, viva ANC, viva, viva Kosatu, viva, viva Sanko, viva. Emaqabani ngathi nithiniwe. Athethi inyana makumanisi, athethi inyana makumanisi. Haya. Yo. Amakumanisi, amakumanisi, amakumanisi. Athethi inyana makumanisi, athethi inyana makumanisi.
Amandla. Awethu. 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 Wathinta umama. Wathinta imbokodo. Long live the undying spirit of Ray Alexander, long live. Long live the undying spirit of Ray Alexander, long live. Viva SACP, viva. Viva SACP, viva. An injury to one. An injury to all. Phambili ngomzabalazo wabasebenzi, phambili. Phambili ngomzabalazo wabasebenzi, phambili. Viva ANC, viva. Viva YCN, viva. Viva ANC Youth League, viva. Viva Sanko, viva. Thanks very much. Our district chair, Ukabane Utembela, the district secretary of our party, Elizonkonki Ukabane Ulanga, the acting regional secretary and deputy secretary of the ANC, Comrade Assessor, the regional chair, secretary of Sanko, Comrade Sheffood, leaders and former leaders of our movement, our party, the CC member as well as the IPC member of the ANC and former provincial secretary, Comrade Kaya Magaka, our national chair, Cde Gwede, and okubalulekileyo as well, mandibhotise i-Red Brigades ezilapha namhlanje nabo baku-Zoom abo baku-Facebook. Okokwami comrades, kugabula nje izigcawu kwenze into yoba inkokheli yethu izothetha nathi. But before that, I can confirm comrades ukuba 95% Cde Gwede abantu abalapha have vaccinated. %95 yenu bayihlabile naleti. Now, ithetha ukuthi loo nto nina niyakholelwa kwi-science and uba ukuhlaba kuza kunceda entweni na. I think I must make this point because Cde Gwede made it into yokuba kufuneka ama-Red Brigades abe everywhere and deal decisively with propaganda ethetha ubuxoki about i-vaccine. I-vaccine yothomalalisa ubunganga bevirus kuwe ukwenzela bungayi isibhedlele ingadi kuwise. Bubuxoki into ethi i-vaccine ibulala amalungu athile akho whether ngutata okanye ngumama. Ayikho scientific evidence etshoyo. So sonke sawuvaccinate phambili nge-vaccination phambili. Comrade Chair, apha ndizokwazisa a leader of our movement, a leader of our party, a mine worker from Priska Copper to Matla Coal Mine. Kwakulapho eMatla in the then Highveld, now Mpumalanga, apho kwathi activism yakhe yaqatsela. The comrade I'm introducing, comrades, the leader of our movement refused to separate economic struggles at the shop floor nomzabalazo wokukhulula abantu bakuthi. Akaboni Chinese wall between the struggle against class exploitation at the workplace and the struggle for the national liberation of our people. To see to it that kune kliniki, kune zikolo, kune ndlela where we live. This comrade joined and led both the ANC and the Sacp. Namhlanje userva as a CC member, one of the longest serving CC members. Azange angene kuba ekhopthiwe, but because of his organic activism, grounded. It's worth, comrade, making this point that the labor movement and NUM ingakumbi, a union awayakha wayijoyina in the early 80s. Yiyo yadlala indima enkulu ekwakheni umbutho wesizwe after the unbanning. The comrade I'm introducing served many portfolios as an assistant general secretary of the NUM, later the general secretary of the NUM for about 10 years. Emveni koko waseva kuba lento kuthiwa i-medium term vision even before we conceptualized and adopted it. Wathi wayibamba, and thus he served in many boards because kubalulekile working class leadership to be everywhere. Comrade Gwede, the comrade I'm introducing, led as the national chairperson of the Sacp from 2012, from 2007 to 2012. The comrade I'm introducing, ebengusosiba jikelele wombutho wesizwe, the African National Congress. Allow me to invite Cde Gwede Mantashe, who is the national chair of the ANC, Mandicho.
Amanda. Amanda. Awethu. Phambili nge-ANC phambili. Phambili nge-Communist Party phambili. Phambili nge-COSATU phambili. Phambili nge-leagues ze-ANC zontathu phambili. Phambili nge-YCL phambili. Phambili nge-SASCO ne-COSAS phambili. Phambili ngani? Program director. Up evekini, I was given a feedback by somebody. Uthi kum elizwi lakho lesisitshoto abantu basebangakuva kakuhle. Now ndithi ke mna kuye, I can't help that. Ndayalithatha kumama. Tata wayengeso sitshoto, umuntu wayesitshoto kumama. So I can't change this voice yam ube ngabuso sitshoto. Sisitshoto sikanontombana esi. Now, silapha ku-2030 nge-role of the Communist Party in building the trade union movement in South Africa. That is a book. You can't deliver that in a lecture. You can only write a book on that. Because xa ungabhali incwadi, you are going to be forced to select specific examples in a thick book of history of communists building the trade union movement. What I'm going to do is to tell you why the Communist Party had to focus on the trade union movement in building itself. You say, I must talk about the role of the party in building the trade union movement. I'm going to explain to you why the party had to focus on building the trade union movement in building itself. Now, the Communist Party is a party of influence. Nega, it developed further beyond that point. I think a lot is around here. And then the anarchy. The one going to a party must develop a capacity to govern. But Pakamabebe started in Bati. Saumuka kule ANC tina sawuzimela. Until we explain it to them, that action is going to make the party and the ANC to both lose power. Because if a party breaks away from the ANC is the ANC less the party component. And the result of that will be both the party and the ANC losing power. As we elections, the local government, the 1st of November, pass pieces. And it's a formula for losing power. Last year, if focus is so clear, Western Cape is a province that we lost. And the challenge of bringing it back remains. So that we lose a lot of focus. Let me start off by explaining that the South African Communist Party is this year celebrating 100 years of existence. The party was formed in 1921. In 2021, it is 100 years old. That is not a young party. It's an old party. I think it's the 3rd oldest party in South Africa. It's the ANC. 1912 is the Brugger Bond. On the 3 copies in 1918 is the Communist Party in 1921. 100 years. Now, this is the time to take stock of the contribution of the party as an organization in the struggle for freedom, and the continued role of the party that must be played by the party in the democratic South Africa. Now, in the process, we will from time to time zoom into individual comrades and leaders of the party, because there is a myth that individuals don't count. There's no such a thing. Any organization is as strong as attributes brought by the individual leaders to the collective. Uba ngaba ufika ungene kwi-leadership, ungaphethanga nto, that collective is weaker ngawe. Uba ngaba ni-10, anizine attributes eziyi-10, the organization is weaker. Ngaba bantu bakhwela nje enquleni ehambayo. Every leader of an organization must bring attributes to the organization. That's why it's not individual leaders. It's because it is their attributes that make the party stronger. Now, any organization, therefore, is as good as the quality of membership and leadership. Uba ngaba ne-leadership ongozingela siphetityiwa, who are selfish, who are looking after themselves, the organization is going to be weaker. If une membership eza because wameni and yafika nje ngobuninzi bayo, the organization is going to be weaker. So the organization is as good as the quality of leadership and the quality of membership. Now, iparty isfunza something basic. In the struggle for freedom, there are 3 interrelated contradictions of the colonialism of a special type: race, class, gender. Now, as contradictions, we must try very hard never to vulgarize them, because we were oppressed as a people, we were exploited as a class, we're subject to triple oppression as women. So kufuneka zonke as interrelated contradictions is addressed. Sacp has always been a working class party. Yabona igama lithi working class, ufumana term ethi working class and the poor. Distinction engekhoyo. Working class are people who sell their labor to earn a living. Ukuba uthi uzutye kufuneka uphangele, uyi-working class. Noba ungumabhalane, noba uyi-intellectual, noba wombumsele, xa usithi uzutye uphangele, uyi-working class. Then i-working class ibe nestrata ezahlukeneyo. Now, kukwistratum esibaluleke kakhulu ekuthiwa yi-proletariat. Proletariat ke ngabantu basebenza ngezandla ukuproducer. So the party of the working class appreciated ukuthi it cannot just be a party of the intelligentsia. It should be a party of the working class, primarily the proletariat, with intelligentsia adding value to the proletariat. Uyabona ngoku siya kwi-elections. Kune question esiyibuzayo ukuthi, in the majority of cases, we elect councillors, but discover emva kwasizikheli ezi councillors ukuthi there is no council. We've elected councillors, but there's no council. Because of the quality of councillors we elect, we get stuck day one kasifuna ukhetha umeya. We get sunk kasifuna sibe nento ekuthiwa zii-MMCs, because can't supply mind on the quality of councillors we elect. We elect councillors on the basis of popularity, even if low popularity is a function of anarchy. Then we discover as not council, kodwa i-councillors ziphelele. Now, so the party had to focus in organizing working people into trade unions. Abantu bayabuza, why the party and trade unions? What they don't appreciate is that once we have trade unions, we have concentration of working people in an organized form. Kuthiwe kayibizwa yona kuthiwe yi-trade union. So iparty appreciated that from day one. Ukuthi, let's organize these working people into trade unions so that sibe naba bantu in an organized form called trade union movement. Now, and trade union movement then became the recruitment pawns of the party. Not every trade unionist was recruited into the party, but they were in a pool, in an organized form, in the trade union movement. One of the basic lessons was Fundai. I'm sure young trade unionists are safe minded lesson. Into ekuthiwa is creation of use value. Ukuthi ka usebenza, you produce a unit of a product. Ka usebenza la unit of a product, ngoza sa organize abasebenza sithi uyakloka, usebenze, ka ugqiba 2 hours umnike yonke into abeyichithile umqeshi. Actually, salary yakho is not more than 2 hours of your 8 hours. Le 6 hours extra, sibiza uba yi-exploitation. Now, if awukho organized into a union, awukwazi ukubhagena collectively, the only way you compensate for a lack of this time, the exploitation, kukuthi uthi usebenza, ubaleke uye ngasese, ubuye, after 2 hours, ufuna uya ngasese, after 2 hours, uthi isisu sam, uye ngasese. You are trying to make up for exploitation. Awuyiceli loo nto, kodwa uyayiva ukuthi man amandla am ndiwasebenzisa too much for this chap engumqeshi. Le remuneration ndiyinikwayo ayidibani nale nto ndiyenzayo. Then uzawuzama udoja in many ways ukwenzela umnike as little as you can. Amakomanisi ke aza kufundisa i-basics ze-exploitation ukuthi apha you are being exploited. Now, iparty ke developed close working relations with Clement Kadali's Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, ICU, kwakuthiwa i-ICU, siyakubona, ICU, Industrial and Commercial Workers Union. Apho kwakukho a strong possibility of recruiting members for the party. Now, this continued until Clemens Kadali decided to expel all communists. Go-28, ICU decided to expel all communists, and that was the beginning of the end of ICU. Then the unions became a priority for Communist Party. This coincided with the Crodek letter, and as no mangapha amakomanisi ayaziyo i-Crodek letter, eyayibhalwe nguMoses Kotane ngo-1934, eyibhalela i-Johannesburg district of the party, raising one thing: we must Africanize the Communist Party. We must Africanize the Communist Party. Ningasini Communist Party ezasicela ngoLenin noStalin qha. We must Africanize it. That's why today there should be communists who are proudly saying, I'm a Kotanist. I'm a Kotanist. Now, i-Kotanists, zinjani abanye bayi-rejecta loo nto bayi-revisionism. I-revisionism. Ukuthi you are a Kotan. No. uKotane taught us two basic principles. Ukuthi a good ANC member is one who is a good communist. If you are a good communist, you are in the ANC, you must be a good ANC member. Because discipline yamakomanisi is iron discipline. Then after that iron discipline, which is ANC, you make the ANC look better. Number two, usifundisa ukuthi when you are communist, you are in the ANC. You are not a communist faction in the ANC. You are good ANC members as communists. You are not a communist faction in the ANC. Apho ne-caucus yenu to undercut the decisions of the African National Congress. Therefore, you are able to serve in the ANC and to serve in the Communist Party and in respect of both organizations. Now, that made the party to assign individual communists to organize certain sectors in the economy. Now, there's one that I remember vividly, Ugusi. Credit letter was based on the Black Republic thesis. International communists in 1928. The thesis, Black Republic thesis, was an admission by communists internationally that you can't build a socialism where the majority of citizens are oppressed. So it forced the communists to accept Uguti. Primarily, they must fight for the freedom of the majority, and on the basis of that, build socialism. But letters accepted that it was impossible to build socialism when majority of citizens are oppressed. And the party was forced, therefore, to defy the legal framework which did not recognize black workers as employees. And therefore, black workers were not allowed to form unions. Black workers were not allowed to join unions. And therefore, Amakomani said to defy that logic and build these unions and organize black workers into these unions. And the party organized and mobilized workers to join unions, irrespective of their status. Now, this in itself tested the revolutionary commitment of communists. Now, then more than long, I'm t-shirt is boom ningamakomanis. And I always can't ridicule about it. There's a big distinction between a member of the Communist Party and a communist. It's not the same. You can be a member of the Communist Party, but fall far short of being a communist. In the sense that a revolutionary outlook yako is questionable. A commitment yako is falling short. Kumaxesha amaninzi uvusa uqhuku ka ufika emeetingini. Awenzi contribution eyakhayo. Once you do that, awulokomanisi, remember a Communist Party. Now, yabona ke, yabona JB Marx, wanikwe assignment to build the African Mine Workers Union, AMU. Because now I was a mine worker. Now, JB Marx, wayakala union yaba solid. Wayese striking go 46. Zanga miti demands zakho wa collapse into a native representative council. Ya collapse, ya pela. And that's a communist. JB Marx a communist. Ubunga jongo landeli history ka Johannes Nkosi, who organized the dock workers into a union under ICU. Eyayilidwa nguChampion. Kodwa uChampion kasedilidala, uJohannes Nkosi gained the support of the workers. Now, and what made him popular is that all the time, as a trade unionist, he also clearly identified himself as a communist. Now, let me turn to some details about Ray Alexander Simons. Yabona ke uRay Alexander inkosikazi kaJack Simons. And I was telling unobhala weprovince athi angoRay ndithele nangoJack uza-organize yakhe lecture kaJack ngeyakhe imini because uRay Alexander wayengekaphendisi kaJack Simon. She was an activist and a leader in her own right. Ndabe ke sendimakutyuza ukuthi into ebangela ubufuna besithele ngabo bobabini wena uyagula utyiwa enye into ekuthiwa yipatriarchy. Ndilutyiwa ipatriarchy because ucima ufanele you can't talk of Ray without talking about Jack. Uzawuthetha ngoRay namhlanje and then we'll talk about Jack Simon on another day. Ozayi-organize ucela enye ilecture izodeliver le lecture kaJack Simon because abayonto enye. Now, although Ray is acknowledged for her role on building the Food and Allied Workers Union, the reality is that she was an overall trade union activist and a communist. Ray. Wayengakho union enye, wayelikomanisi, she was committed, and in the process, uyitracer kakuhle history yakhe why lo mama committed ngolu hlobo. Ndenzela uba umama wayimamele le nto. Uzalwa from a household of a language teacher. Utatakhe was a language teacher. As a language teacher, yanika uRay access to reading, ideology yamakomanisi namasocial, and she joined the underground Latvia Communist Party at the age of 13. And it is our Communist Party. She joins Latvia Communist Party, we underground, and at 13 years old. Enale background yokufunda yabona ke many of us ngamakomanisi kodwa were lazy to read, very lazy to read. It's uncharacteristic of a communist. Communists read now, and this exposure to books that gave her access to social and communist ideology. And at the age of 16, Ray migrated to Cape Town. Now, let me tell you, Africa up at Cape Town, she met a person named John Comas, a communist, and joined the Communist Party of South Africa. Now, it's a very important development. Ukuthi is not a South African. He is migrating from Latvia to South Africa. Africa, but like typical of a communist. She takes her time immediately and say, and look for the Communist Party, and she finds and join it. That is how communists should behave everywhere. Yabona mos, ulapha Plattenberg Bay. Plattenberg Bay is quite a nice town, beautiful, clean, and beautiful. You must be able to develop ideas here. Uthi ka ubhekele Frey, uyazi ukuthi uyi-agent of spreading the ideas as progressive in society. Then once you begin to do that, you must know that you are a communist. Okay. Usuka uhambe utshona kwenye isite enkulu ngapha eStern Cape ekuthiwa yiCala. Xa ufika kula city, upropagate progressive ideas, then you are a communist. This is the example. Then when she was working here, she was expelled from her job for attending a conference of anti-fascist conference. Fascism into Western apartheid, yase German, waqotshelwa loo nto uba uye kulaa conference, you are fired. And then, because of that, the working people rewarded her. Bamkhetha as the chairperson of the Cape Town District Committee of the Communist Party. And she organized workers across the Kailam into Food and Canning Workers Union, of which she became General Secretary. This union was among the key unions that formed a Sacp. Now, a Sacp, there's no trade unions a Sacp. Zazi a COSATU. We are one of the Sacp. Kukunto kutwa Congress. Kunto kutwa COSATU, kugame kutwa Congress. It makes that federation distinct from other federations as neoliberal. And is identified with the Congress movement. Southern Congress of South African Trade Unions. The Congress of South African Trade Unions. La Congress is very important. It's not a council, it's a Congress. And it is that word Congress that identifies it with the Congress movement. Now, Ray Alexander was among the women who formed FETSO. Federation of Southern Trade Unions. Helen Joseph, Lillian Ngoi, all those women. And she became the General Secretary of FETSO. Now, again, internalize. Usuke Latvia, ufika Movement Communist Party, aga naturalize why Home Affairs. He get naturalized into South Africa by activism. Activism, yeah. And that makes a difference between a member of the Communist Party and a communist. Because of her banning, she was forced to leave Parliament after being elected a representative in the Native Representative Council. I can tell you, he took Amaposa to court for that. Wabhadalwa imali yakhe campaign because he won the campaign. He had a seat in the Native Representative Council. Kodwa because uyasokolisa wakhutshwa. Wabasuisha wabhadala. But the most important thing, she had to go to exile in 1965. And she was elected honorary president of FAO in 1986. Now, this brief history appears as memorializing Comrade Ray, but it is a necessary detail to illustrate that communists are always resilient and have no boundaries. Any communist, any limited, we as good is battling, he must grow. Agana boundary, they struggle everywhere. And communists from Eastern countries contributed immensely to the growth and development of the Communist Party, including Joe Slovo. Joe Slovo was from Russia. He became quite a prominent communist here. You can find a number of them who come from the Eastern countries. So, I'm leaving with Jack Simon because I think he deserves a standalone account as an educator, as a political educator in ideology, both in the SAP and the ANC. That he was married to Ray Alexander doesn't make them twins. They are activists in their own right. Let me turn to the Sacp today, the Communist Party today. Communists today, you communists, must appreciate the importance of providing scientific analysis. It's important. It's the strength of the Communist Party. It invests time in that, in developing that scientific analysis. And once you have done that scientific analysis, it is important to actually engage with the current situation. I always criticize the party, my party. There's a theory very fundamental. it developed a theoretical framework for a post-independent capital formations. Very necessary a distinction. Today, when you see a black emerging as wealthy, into yokuqala sicinga ukuthi he is a thief. It will relate an estate, starting over estates capturation. What we don't discuss, and the party is not leading us in that discussion, is that each state has a responsibility to build new capital formations post-independent. You see, as I said, the biggest contribution to the day is from Oppenheimer daughter. She doesn't owe us anything. She doesn't owe us any future. She is giving the money to the DA because she can identify with the DA. But if we are trying to develop new capital formations post-independent, siyoyika half the time. Ngoba kuzawuthwa estate is captured. But estate, when there is freedom, sine responsibility to develop new capital formations. Nest them. That is not corruption. It's a deliberate program of developing new capital formations. I don't know if a party ever take this time and look at the time when we had the policy sector BEE and just count at black capitalists who emerged out of that program. One time I did that one day and they came up to 25 and more. Those black capitalists posed a threat to the establishment. Sanikwa intloya ekuthiwa yi-triple BEE. A myth yokuba you can make a village of business people. It has not happened anywhere. As a result of that, the number of emerging business people and capitalists are fewer in that program. And equally, there are few people that must satisfy you with that program, artificial. So the point I'm making there is that Amakomanis must appreciate a value of unashamedly provide a scientific analysis and use that scientific analysis to engage the current situation. Communists cannot be petty, but engage even the ANC with the aim of enriching the content of policy. Communists cannot lament and complain. And Comrade Kokotane entranced these principles of communists being the best ANC members, and that communists being not a faction in the ANC. See, a lazy communist is a sick communist. All communists, structures, you are known for being lazy. Funeka siyazi thina as communists, this is a sick communist. Because a communist should actually do the work and be known. That's why I get surprised by non-ANC communists who get accommodated in ANC lists purely on the basis of being a quarter of the party. I know that those communists are not going to bring value to the party because abaziwa benzalelelwe bafakwa pha because the party says so. Then it's difficult to find them busy ward councillors because people in that ward know this communist, they respect this communist, and they nominate this communist. And low attitude, I support Amagata, Bonga we are smosh. But in reality, we could only communists. The Villa Moto Quelling actually ward council. Ndiyaqonda uba li-right ke. Yabona ke le kuthiwa li-ward council. Yabona eli-ward council, oh li-right. Li-right eli. Because eli-ward council likhethwe ngabantu ewadini. Bayalazi, bayalithemba, balibonile lisebenza, balinominate as a ward candidate. Now, so, Vomagad, every time we show we debate and over here, amakomanis are accommodate. Gamakomanis are ten la accommodate why. Makomanis manga accommodate. They must be in the space, they must be known, they must be respected because they do the work there. The theory I'm getting, I not support up to now. Ni support njani? Niyacelelwa nicelelwa inchongo yabona ningamakoma nicelelwa inchongo kanjani. Now, it is high time that the party must further develop a comprehensive program to build a socialist dispensation in South Africa. Theoretically, it is correct that the NDR is the shortest route to socialism. You know, in 1929, the party had what was called the party strategic line for 29, which held that the most direct line of advance to socialism runs through mass struggle for the majority. So in 1929, the party knew that also socialism unless you are involved in the mass struggles for the majority. What are the building blocks of the socialism in the democratic South Africa? Socialism is the future, build it now. I love that. Socialism is the future, build it now. But where are the building blocks? Where are the building blocks? Zale socialism. Now, my concern is that many communists today believe that this debate must be anchored in anarchy. Very wrong conception. Communists must not come with anarchy and hope that out of fear people will support the party. No. People must support the party on the basis of illogical argument, scientific analysis, and the articulation. Now, and I want to leave it at that. So Congress a party next year. I want to see a semblance of this scientific analysis that is saying, if we're going to build socialism, these are the building blocks of building socialism. Now, let me give you an example. Amakomanis ngapha eChina khona ngomuntu othiwa nguMao Zedong. Wafaka into okuthiwa i-cultural revolution. That cultural revolution almost destroyed the revolution, almost kills it. Until avumele uDeng Xiaoping to take the stage in 1978. I'm telling you Deng Xiaoping because he forced us to liberate ourselves from ukubochelelwa tradition. So let's think innovatively, let's be innovative with our ideas and build. And he asked two basic questions. Is socialism is humane, but economically we are stagnating. What is wrong? He's looking on the Asian tigers around China, prospering economically. If China is stagnant, would know must start in la free market system city was in a socialism. Back in Doctor socialism with Chinese characteristics. It's something or confuse socialism with Chinese characteristics. And they are cool la economy. 1991, la economy, growth yehla ifika ko 4.3. Baya kuye abantu bayabuza senze njani. The growth is stagnating now. Uthi lamfo open the western side of China. Not the macroeconomic analysis here, GDP yacha yacima kwathi no vulani west. Wayivula as yakhula economy yotacha of 14.6%. Kwakwe economic overheat. Now, party must be instrumental in forcing all of us to actually go and venture into new ideas. Since into traditional, since into unknown, singing a patience is sneaky results. Now, the last point I want to talk about. Siskolo Moses Kuswandit. Siskolo is. Yeah? Now, ANC is the ally of the party. I can never tell you he left. He left. Eh? What he left doing? No, not Popular Front. He left Axis. He party, Nekosat. Now, why you John left Axis? The communists, Muslim. The communists. The sevens are power ANC. Unashamedly. They were all the left axis is clubbing together COSATU and the party to fight the ANC. No, to fight the ANC by coverage and then go back to a neoliberalism. But the Balwan Nepal and ANC Kabeti, whenever he left axis, they exclude the ANC. Bakwa alliance now, Bobabi. Because they meet alone, then the left axis, anarchy. When they come to alliance meetings, bafika bechichikazi baqapuka. Ndibabuza every time. Njengoba niqaphuka nilwa nabani. Uba wena beyensi nani ngiyithanda lona ukuthi we have good policies but we don't implement. Ngiyaloka ni top structure. Ni top structure need. We have good policies but we can't implement. We don't realize ukuthi it's a helpless argument. Because this is the top structure which must implement. Instead of telling us, this is what we're going to do to execute. We have good policies, but we can't implement. Ikalakbani. Now, Ikalakbani, axis of the state. Axis of the state. Iyakhala, SNAP policies are right, but we can't implement. But the axis of the state has the responsibility to execute. Now, ANC is going through a very difficult patch of time. Now, the option is now as communists. We have two options. We appreciate what ANC is going through this patch of time, and the period in Ganaguyo is painful, and it is even resisted internally. Sit at the decision as communists, we are going to support the process year renewal. futhi siyaaccept upfront as communists ukuthi i-renewal everywhere it has happened. It is painful and it is always resisted by beneficiaries of rot. Beneficiaries of rot resist the change. Now, if communists begin to internalize that, basnike a theoretical framework of confronting that reality will be a better movement. But if a party instead iyagigizela halala iyagigizela ndiyibona uba iparty igigizela wrong. Akho nkomo zekhazi ezingenayo kodwa iyagigizela. You don't ululate to celebrate your hat. Ayenziwa loo nto. Ibhizi i-ANC yenza loo nto. Yazi into yenza i-ANC? Mandinikeze into encinci. Uthi uXi Jinping, amakomazi aseChina are exemplary now because sasikade sibambeleyo to the Soviet Union, yakolapsa kunye nathi ngo-89, uGorbachev wayiyeka yakolapsa. Asheka la yellow committees aseChina eqhuba. Athi la makomanisi, if you want to deal with corruption and factionalism, you can't focus on flies and not touch tigers. You must touch both flies and tigers. Now, the cleansing process ANC is beginning to touch both flies and tigers. Sikhala kakhulu baya as tigers better as 10. I-tiger enezandla ezihlala ethilini okomntana sevenkileni mayidibane nemuna. Noba ngubani, noba nguGwede, noba ngubani. Ube izandla zami zihlala sethilini mandibethwe. So that in the future, corruption and factionalism must be an exception. Should not be a norm. Now, xa ndizawuhlala phantsi, uyabona ke siyi-leadership apha. Because i-leadership sometimes, yabona ke ndimamele abantu ongayi-understandiyo le concept ye-leadership. Bacinga bafana uba i-leadership is in the head office. Ngenxa bayinarosha further, bacinga bafana uba i-leadership nguRamaphosa. Now, abantu abayi-understand ukuthi i-leadership must be at all levels of the organization. All levels of the organization. Funeka kubekho i-leadership. Uba ayikho i-leadership kwezinye levels, i-organization is weaker. Yabazi abantu balabela ePlattenberg Bay, don't know me. Neya loo nto leyo. Abandayazi abantu balapha. Bandibona apha e-TV, baye uMantashe ukhona and so forth. I-leadership eyaziwayo apha ePlat nini. Yeah? I-leadership eyaziwayo apha ePlat nini. When I visit Plat, ndizo-reinforcer i-effort yenu, not the other way around. Now, ndifuna unika le definition ke leadership. That one of the key leadership attributes is the ability to grasp the environment you are in and stay in tune with it. Umamel, one of the key leadership attributes is the ability to grasp the environment you are in and stay in tune with it. A leader ekule locality engayi-understandiyo le environment ifana phaya emgodini, yabona ka sitshisa phaya emgodini, so one explosive ingablow. It's so dangerous because when we come back here after 2, 3, 4 years, silandela indawo ezingavalanga, izawublower in the face of a machine trailer. Sinjalo ke inkokheli ezingayi-understandiyo le environment zikuyo and zithi zingamakomanisi ezinkokheli. Funeka niyi-understande le environment nikuyo, nihlale in tune with it. Then you are leaders. Then you will appreciate ukuthi leadership goes through the organization. If it's stronger here, as it goes out, it becomes stronger. Ubangaba, if factionalism remains dominant, we are in trouble. Thank you very much.
Amandla. Amandla. Gawethu. Gawethu. Umande lutha ihlomi. Umande lutha ihlomi hlasele. Esiyaya. Wesizwe lusaka. Osesolo tha ihlomi. Otesolo tha ihlomi sovota. Esiyaya. Owesizwe lusaka. Umantashe tha ihlomi. Umantashe tha ihlomi hlasele. Esiyaya. Owesizwe lusaka. Amandla. Comrades, kuthiwe sisesikolweni. Ndizawunika nje ithuba lezandla ezintathu ukuba zikhona. Niphawule kwintetha ka-National Chairperson okanye nibuze nje imibuzo ukuba zikhona amaqabane. Izandla nje ezintathu. Nalapha comrades ningaphawula, it's fine. Comrades, siyayazi ke intetha izala enye intetha. Sawunika lamaqabane aphakamise izandla sivale. Sawuqala pha kuqabane size kwinkokheli, pha. Sicela la mic mhlekazi. Iya nayo pha isepha baba. Isepha. Sanitize. There is a sanitize that mic, please, comrade. You must be next to that mic.
Manda. Ndabulela program director.
Cela uzichaze qala.
Igama lam ndingululamile class. Ndilapha Ward 6 eNonzima Ntwanambi. Comrade Gwede, siyabulela kakhulu ngenkcazelo yakho. And isikhombisa londo okokubana sisene leaders ezikwaziyo unika clarity to the people kweli xesha linzima. Sisiya ku-elections. Isicelo sam sesokubana kungaske le unity uthetha ngayo ibe unity ezawuvula ingqondo ze leaders from the ground level, because kune tendency Comrade Gwede ngoba sine leadership le uthetha ngayo uba the strong leader funeka kudala ibe strong kwi-ground level, inyuke istrong ubheka phezulu. Kune-tendency ke ye-leaders ezithi once zikubone as a leader okokubana ikhona into engavuka kuwe, unyathelwe. Kukunyathelwa kuhlobo luni, Comrade Gwede? Kukuthi kube nolwimi oluthanda ufakwa zii-leaders okokubana lo mntu makangabonakali at all. Yeyona nto ke ibulala i-organization leyo. Sicela kwakhona ke kwi-SACP, Comrade Benson, we need i-SACP ezawubonakala kuzo zonke iwadi, isebenza hand in hand with the African National Congress upush elections. Kwa uSanco singamane sisiva i-leadership kaSanco ezayo only xa kukho Comrade Gwede, but there's no Sanco. Kungase uvuselelwe zonke ii-leagues, Comrade Gwede, sizokwazi into yobana si-overcome le ngxaki sicimba fanuba sinayo. We don't have problem apha eBhito, Comrade Gwede. The only thing edingekayo unity to overcome. Amandla.
Niku Comrade Nkomombini apha.
COVID. Amandla. Awethu. Viva ANC, viva. Viva SACP, viva. Viva vaccine, viva. Oh, comrades, igama lam ndinguzana Xolo, Nkomombini, eledi Frefal Bango dan lapha eMossel Bay ngoku kokuhlala. Ndimember, ndikwalilungu le-SACP in good standing. Ndikwangusinobhala ke kwibranch endikuyo. So members, mna njengomntu oseklasini ndiphakamela nje ukuthi kutishala wethu uComrade uTata Gwede Mantashe, enkosi kakhulu. Inqabile ke le into ngakumbi xa kusondela election, ngoba xa kusondela election wonke umuntu ugada isusu sakhe. Akakhawulezuza kakhulu ebantwini. Nangakubizwa abantu kubizwa abo batya kunye bashiyana ngabangabikho kweso sitya. So ixhaphakile ke loo nto apha eSouthern Cape yokokuba abantu bathanda banezitya zabo ingathi sezilalini. So sibulela nje into yoba namhlanje sifumenele lecture. Inye ke into endiyiqwalaseleyo nendiyithandileyo njengomntu oseklasini, ndiphakamisela ukuthi ilungu le-SACP ayibalilo uba linayo membership ye-ANC. Senje loo nto ingasibetheleleke ngoba ke ndiyiqwalasele mna into yoba thina SACP sicinga mhlawumbi siyiparty its own ngaphandle kwe-alliance ye-ANC. So laa nto ndiyifundile namhlanje. You can't be a member of the SACP, you are not in good standing kwe-ANC. So loo nto leyo ifuna ibetheleleke, and ayikho i-SACP ingekho i-ANC, yinto efuna ibetheleleke. Okwesibini, ndithanda le ndawo ithi ooceba bakhoyo apha, ndiseklasini ndifundile apha, uceba onyulwe apha okhoyo umthanda ungamthandi uba uphumelele ngesininzi ngoceba wentando yesininzi lowo, ngakumbi xa ingu-SACP. Ngakumbi xa ingu-SACP ene-masters engenazo, uba umhlali okanye le nto ingumhlali ithe iyakhomba yathi siyamfuna lo, nguye omele abe uyamelwa abe nguceba. Kuyafuneka ama-comrades because we have a tendency yokokuba kwathina ama-SACP simonyule siphinde simnyole, because when it comes sibe sipha kwi-public meetings siya asiyingendlela enye, siya kuba simkhapha. And when it comes umuntu onyuliwe kwathina abantu bebemonyule sithi hayi besisenza nje akamelanga banguye lo, kutsho thina ama-SACP. So loo nto funeka siyithene ibe yinkabi, ingabilo nekhwangu iphele tu. I thank you.
Naso sinye isandla.
Mandla. Mandla.
Comrades, akho nto endizoyithetha. Seyethethile la maqabane. Ayebegqiba uthetha apha. Xa ke le ibithethwa nguComrade uGwede yoba amakomanisi ayafunda. Yile ke ibangela uba singafunwa leyo. Kuba ukufunda kubangela uba ube nenyani. Awuzufunwa ke comrade buke womane ufunda lonke iphepha elifunde into ethi mayifundwe. Okwesibini ke bendizo eyona nto endiyiphakamelayo mna ndingulowa kaMhlana pha kulaa branch kuthiwa nguWard 3 eRaymond Mhlaba. Ngithembekile igama lam. Ndiyi-ANC futhi ndilikomanisi. Eyona nto endiyiphakamelayo apha yinto yokubana uComrade Gwede akhe ayiginye amane ehlafuna le nto sithethe ngayo yombane. Ngoba oko saqala thina imane ivala le COVID, uCyril emane evala, sibaye sitatsha amaqabane wethu. Ingxaki esinayo kwezi zethu ingingqi yile nto yalombane. Uba ke yena angakhe azirhwembe ade abambe nelaqhakuva alicudise khe sifumane lombane kwezi ndawo zethu. Enkosi.
Bendiphakamise izandla kuphela. Ndiza kunika nje kodwa noba khange ndikubone yile camera.
Kwaye manje ke mina
Cofa Facebook.
idlalo zami zikuluveli. Lordship lo uhlala apha. Ndikoza cracks, apho lisuka khona ibranch yami se-cracks. Ku-Ward 1. Ndinesicelo nam ndinesikhalo esithile. Ukho mntu ondisekela nam kwesikolo sam esithile. Kule branch se-cracks.
Kawutolike enkokheli uthini
Kuthiwa
enkokheli
kawuzini.
pha?
Phaya cracks sinengxaki. Uba uqwatha sesisuka unyunyaka pha. Uba uqwatha, uba uGwede. Into zanga zenzeke ngokweyile wazipopola. Into zenzeka ngehlobo becinga ngalo. Isingasi ke ngoku nje bebenza umkroba nje nebandla lam. Mna ndumkhozeli oko manje yakho. Kodwa andikhokozeli nje. Ndinabantu abangixhaseleyo. Kulomhlaba sekhulent eCracks ujonge.
Okay.
Mna ndungurhwayimani uGoodman.
Amandla. Okay. Ndizawunika ke uNational Chairperson a responde.
Isikhalo sokuqala ukuthi abantu abavela benema-ideas bayasuppresswa. Ayongxakaqa yokuqala leyo. Bonke abantu bakhula kwezo meko. Bonke abantu, bonke. You can look at any leader. Uzofumana he has gone through that. As you emerge, unama ideas, brilliant, ubona suppress. The difference between success and failure is the choice you make. If uthi kawunama ideas, ufuna uzitreata as being special, xa usuppresswa uretreat uyokutshona, awuzoya phambili. Bonke abantu babona kuthiwa ziinkokheli badlula kuloo nto, because uyuthi organizwa ngungqentsu, uimede ube inkokheli edlulayo phaa kuye, apenapene xa ugqitha kuye. Funeka uyazi into yokuba apha akwanjwa kwisiporo sikaloliwe, awuzolinda othile. Uba ngaba ama-ideas akho ayakupropela uba khula, vuma ukukhula. So ii-pains ezamana loo nto uzawudibana nazo. I agree with you xa usithi i-party must be visible in all wards. Uba khona amakomanisi kwezo wards, uba khona. Uba ke kufuneka kuyo-organizwa apha, I agree. Eyesibini, i-party is not a faction within the ANC. You must not have a communist faction within the ANC. A good communist is a good ANC member. Now, I must confess that means I enjoy working in the ANC structures. And everybody for ANC, we understand the communists. I don't hide that, everybody knows. Well, I'm a commander. Uba ndikhona kabatsho bathi niyahlupha akhomba phakho. It's fine with me. But as a communist, you must make the difference ngokuthi uba kuthiwa kufuneka udeliver lecture ePlattenberg Bay uye. Uba kuthiwa yena amakhwaleni apho everybody is reluctant to go. Xa ulikomani uzaba distinct ngokuthi uye. Bayibuyisa ke ngoku loo response bayizisapha bathi amakomanisi mabekho kuzo zonke ii-wards apha ePlat. Nobuye nice na ufike khona, nobuya eGeorge ufike khona, nobuye eMoselbaai ufike khona. And that is not a big demand. It's a simple demand uba masibe khona, sibe available ebantwini. Now, kaloku le nto sikuyo ayiyo loving assembly apho sihlangana ngokuthandana. Sihlangana ngokuthandana, sihlanganiswa yi-duty ne-obligation. Noba ndiyakuthanda or andikuthandi, uba ndibotshwe nawe manditsale nawe. Uyabona ndake ndamjela secretary wenye union ekuthiwa yi-NUM. Ufike ngenye ixesha kusithiwa uorganizer ne-education abathethsani. Uzohletyelwa la madoda akasathethisani la. Ngona ndimjela secretary ke ndandiwenza into elula. Ndiwathatha omabini ndiwanike i-1.4 yeCorolla. Ndithi makokudila ngeproblem esenamakhwaleni. By the time egqithe eKimberley, azabe ebuzana uba hey comrade ndingakuthengela idrink. Athengelani idrink, from there abe zii-friends forever. Kufuneka amacomrade ethu xa ethiwa akavani siwanike ii-tasks together. Abuye azo-accounta together. Siwa-observe into yokubana accounta honestly na onke or lelinye icomrade elika-accountela namanye. Now, uthi kwicomrade abafunwa apha ngenxa yento yemfundo. Now, Yabona ke le nto yemfundo is very important. Ndine-councillors endizaziyo mna ezingena sikolo kodwa ezigud. Khona enye engapha eFrayedi isikolo ayisazi kuthiwa ngumthethiti. Laa nto ka ikunika iripoti kufotela nee-pictures. Iibhokwe ziyoyela apha. Ifoti ibhokwe yona elikuthumela. Enye ipha eMonti seDuncan Village. Sisomnyama. Nyama kuthiwa ngubani? Kubani? Kubani? Uward councillor yaseDuncan Village. Usebenza namatyotyombe. Bonke bambiza ngegama esavela. Bonke bayambiza bayamazi. Now, that makes up for education. How effective in delivering service. But we must never counterpose that with in need ye councillors ezesikolweni. Uyazi ngo-1987 elements siya kwi-conference ye-NUM afika ama-shop steward phaa athi aba bantu basitolikayo bayasiqhatha. Babona ngantoni? Uthi usemitingini uyi-shop steward uthukise umthuku umlungu. Le itolikayo ithi he is very upset. Le ijonga lo mlungu kutheni umlungu engacaphuki ndimthukile. Now bakwamba no ayasiqhatha abantu. And we took a resolution in 1987 ukuthi yonke i-shop steward ye-NUM mayiye kwi-abet. Yabona ka beconference ne-NUM ngoku ziyakukhumsha Sacp bethi isilungu zonke. Bethi isilungu zonke. Ezinye ke azibethe sasilungu sazo nge-confidence. Uvisit, we are not childs. Because phaa ku-abet ifunde into yoba i-plural is S. Now, we are not childs. But ziyibetha nge-confidence. Now, kukho le problem ye-electricity. From electricity. Ndithe kungqentsu ake ndiyitshekishe laa problem ye-electricity uba i-INEP ndinayiprogram phaa edepartmentini yo-electrify izindlu kuthiwa yi-INEP uyayazi emeya. Now ndizayitshekisha uba inayo ina-allocation enayo apha ePlats and ndizamnika i-feedback. Ungazabe uyazoninika i-feedback as a structure. But i-reality kukuthi xa nithatha i-Plats niyinika i-DA akuncedi ukuthuka thina. Niyithathile nayinika i-DA. Nawujika nithuke kuthi. Big difference. Kanti uba ngaba ilapha ku-ANC nithuka kuthi. Ndithe kanti ekuseni ngubani ikhansila yapha mayikize isithethe kwadwa hayi ikhansila yala wadi ye-DA. Then they diagnose uba that is where the problem is. Because la khansila ye-DA ayizufuna unika i-credit to the ANC government. But I'm going to go through the checks uba ikhona na i-allocation ye-INEP elapha. Lastly, cracks ukwi-question yomhlaba. Andiyazi yopha i-cracks kuba kune-fire station. That I know. But cracks kune-fire station. iservice yathathwa ngurhulumente we-ANC yasiwa ebantwini. Akwathi abantu bazofuna iservice. Xa kutshala amatyotyomba phaa ecala kwayo ibe accessible kufitshane. Uba kusekho ezinye problems, I hope andithathanga ii-cracks nayinika i-DA. Enkosi.
Amandla.
Asoze aphela
Viva Sacp, viva! Viva ANC, viva! Viva Cosatu, viva! Viva Sanko, viva! Wathinta umama! Wathinta imbokodo! Viva Youth League, viva! Viva nawe comrades! Comrade Cde Gwede Mantashe, Provincial Secretary we-Umakomanisi, BEC members, District Secretary, District Chairperson, Regional Secretary, DEC members, Regional Executive members, ndiyandibulisa nonke le-Women's League, ndiyayibulisa. Ndibulisa oomama abancame konke. Ngeli xesha linzima le-COVID, kodwa namhlanje balapha. Ndiyabulela bethuna, ndibulela ukuba nizasaxhasa ngomzimba wenu wonke kule ndawo. Ndibulela kutata wethu ngemfundiso yethu ayithulile kule ndawo entle kakhulu. Sifunde kakhulu ukuthi ipati isukaphi. Sibulela nama-comrade endiwavileyo ukuthi emamkelwa namhlanje asuka kwenye imibutho. Bethuna kusekhaya. Nikhulula ibhati, nikhulula iqhiya, kuyasetyenzwa. Asijajani mos. Asijajani. Sixolela qhomo sasizizwe gatekeepers. Sihamba nabanakwethu, siyasebenza nabakunakwethu, siyabamkela. Kuyiwa khona endimeni. Siyosebenza, sibuyisela back ibhito yethu. Bring back bhito. Ibhito mayibuye. Yes, mayilawule. Thank you, comrades.
Mlinde.
Ngoba indlela ndlela ngoba ifuna ngoba ifuna
Babe. Ola. Ewe ifuna. Oh indele ndlela. Oh indele ndlela.
Ungubani? Ungowabaphi? Uyaphi inqanawe itshona? Ithi le ndoda akayiphendula, ndingumhebhere, ndiyamoyika uthini. Ayiphendule le nto ibuzwayo. Ungubani? Ungowabaphi? Uyaphi? Uthi ndingumhebhere, ndiyamoyika uthini. Kuba
Indele ndlela. Oh indele ndlela.
indlela ndlela ngoba indlela ndlela ngoba ifuna ngoba ifuna ngoba ifuna ngoba ifuna indlela ndlela ngoba indlela ndlela indlela ndlela ngoba indlela ndlela ngoba ifuna ngoba ifuna ngoba ifuna ngoba ifuna indlela ndlela ngoba indlela ndlela indlela ndlela ngoba indlela ndlela thatha ngoba ifuna ngoba ifuna ngoba ifuna ngoba ifuna indlela ndlela uma ufuna ukuthuma iyo uma ufuna ivolontiya abo uma ufuna ukuthuma abo uma ufuna ivolontiya
Siphuma ngolo hlobo maqabane. Come guerrilla, Nyamaza. Come guerrilla, Nyamaza. Safika beko. Yesaso. Safika beko na. Kerlapo.